is it possible to actually end violence and bullying in schools, and how can we make it more effective?
Yeah, so I would say completely eradicating school violence and bullying is a very difficult challenge because these behaviors are influenced by a range of complex factors, as mentioned by Nicola and Freda, that include individual, social, and cultural influences. However, we must work towards ending violence and bullying in schools. So the protection of children from all forms of violence is a fundamental right enshrined in the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child, as Freda has just quoted, that no violence against children is justifiable. All violence against children is preventable. And ending all forms of violence against children is also a specific target in the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, the Sustainable Development Goal number 16.2. And there is evidence that it's possible to significantly reduce the incidence of violence and bullying in schools and to mitigate their impact on learners. So of the countries and territories with trend data available up to 2017, collected through the international school-based surveys, basically the two major surveys, one is the health behavior in school-aged children study in Europe and North America, and the global school-based student health survey in the other regions, that around half of the countries with trend data had seen a significant decrease in the prevalence of bullying, physical fights, and physical attacks, as shown by these bar charts. And also another example is that in Europe, comparable data on the prevalence of homophobic bullying are available from the Agency for Fundamental Rights, FRA, for 2012 and 2019. Overall, we've seen the average prevalence across countries of LGBT participants experiencing negative comments or conduct at school due to sexual orientation, gender identity, or expression decreased. Specifically, the mean percentage of victims across countries was decreased from 68% in 2012 to 56% in 2009. So while zero violence and bullying in school is a challenging goal, there are effective strategies that can significantly reduce the incidence. And these effective strategies are widely referred to as a whole school approach, or some other terms listed here. To engage stakeholders at the school level, in the local community, and in the government education authorities, work together to undertake a range of different activities aimed at making school safer, more child-friendly, and gender-sensitive, and that foster a positive, supportive, and enabling learning environment for students and educators.
Sylvia has a question. Please, Sylvia.
No, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, Yongfeng, go ahead.
Okay, so the essential components of such a holistic approach can be shown with this line component diagram here. We call it whole education approach, which was specifically developed for preventing and addressing bullying by a scientific committee for the International Conference on School Bullying, co-convened by UNESCO and the French Ministry of Education, Youth and Sport in 2020. But it's also applicable to other forms of school violence and provides a useful framework for understanding the multi-component approach to preventing and responding to school violence. So according to this approach, that strong leadership at all levels is crucial to combat violence and bullying. And teachers need training and support to create student-centered, caring classrooms and school environment. And the third component is about school curriculum, teaching methods, and teacher-student relationships that should promote the caring and anti-violence school atmosphere. And the next component, talking about schools, must ensure a psychologically and physically safe environment. And the fifth component is about establishment of clear reporting mechanisms, confidentiality, and integrated support services within schools and the wider community to help to support students affected by violence and bullying. And also, it's necessary to engage all stakeholders, including parents, and empower all students to participate in the prevention effort, including bystanders and those from minority groups, using peer-led programs alongside adult-led interventions. And it's also important to foster collaboration between the education sector, government, NGOs, academia, and digital platforms to pool resources and expertise in tackling violence and bullying. And finally, regularly monitor bullying and violence, and also assess the effectiveness of prevention measures and involve students and staff in the evaluation process, focusing on the overall school climate. So these are the 9 components integrated together into a holistic approach towards our vision to end school violence and bullying. And these 9 components are not a menu or a shopping list from which only some aspects can be selected or to reduce violence and bullying. This should be considered as an integrated elements of the holistic approach. Each of the 9 components is important and necessary, but not sufficient alone. So, and also one-off measures are not effective or sustainable. It's also important not only to help students involved in bullying, but also to make the entire education system better equipped to reduce violence, bullying, and cyberbullying among learners. National or subnational school authorities should design programs that can be effectively implemented in all schools across the networks of relationships attached to schools. And education authorities should support schools with guidance and resources. And also the guidance and resources will also needs to be in place to equip teachers, as just mentioned. So I would just I would also, just in addition to it's shown here, I would also like to emphasize that perception of violence and bullying can be different across different contexts and cultures. So therefore, all interventions need to be culturally sensitive and tailored to the specific needs of the school and its community. So with such sustained commitment and effort to address the complete ecosystem of school violence and bullying, we can indeed establish a secure and nurturing school environment devoid of any form of violence and bullying. Thank you.